Hey everybody, Hubby here with Just About Anything Garage. It's a beautiful, hot and muggy day here in Agawam, Mass. And if you guys are following the Corvette series, you know that we're in the middle of taping the second piece of that series on the Vet, which is to finish up and wrap up the pedal swap that we got done. And we're pretty close to that. So I need to take a little break from it because if you watch that, you know I'm working in super cramped spaces. It's super hot and humid. It's dripping all down my back. And it gets frustrating, but we're pretty close with that, so you'll see that one coming out. But in the meantime, I'm going to release this one. What we're going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and we're going to clean out this here Evinrude Playmate boat. This is one that we picked up last year, probably fall, heading into winter time frame. It's a parts boat for, oh, you can't see it here, so let's walk for a second. There you see the Chrysler, the Imperial. That blue boat back there, that's a 1965 Evinrude Playmate. And we're restoring that. I got the engine running in that one. It runs really well. And so we saw this one popped up on Marketplace and decided we were going to pick it up. But once I got it and started to inspect it, it's got some aspects that are better. So what we're basically going to do is combine two into one, but this may become the base boat and that might become the part boats, even though we might swap the motor because I know that motor runs. But what we're going to do today is, so I need to take a little break, is that we're going to go inside. It's been sitting out, it hasn't been covered, so it's been raining inside. It's a mess. We're going to get the vac out, we're going to clean it. If you look down in the back there, it's full of mud and crap. We got to get that all there because it'll rot it all out and make it nasty. Clean it out, and then we'll power wash it off, and we'll do a nice little assessment on it to look and see where it's at. So I will go ahead and I'll set up and I'll show you that vacuuming, cleaning, power washing, and then we'll go through the boat and we'll see where it sits, what we kind of got here for a parts boat or a base boat. So hang on there and we'll be right back, and you can catch some boat action here. Bunch of parts sitting here. Pull all this stuff out, get it cleaned out, see where we're at. Let's get the shop vac. All right, so we got most of the crap out using the shop vac. The bilge area had a bunch of leaves and water down in it. It's hard to see down there because it's dark, but I'll climb up here in a second and show you. And what we're going to do now is we'll get out the pressure washer and give it a squirt. See if we can't get it cleaned off. And we'll let it dry in the sun a little bit and take a look at what we got down there. Let's get some light on the subject and see if can't peer into the darkness. Okay, I don't know if you can see down there, but the bilge area is pretty cleaned out. It had a bunch of crap in there, so water. When they made these, the actual bilge range is up at floor level, and then see there's a bilge pump down in there that we'll need to clean that out. So hopefully no water's penetrated backwards and the floors underneath this deck won't be wet. So let's get out the pressure washer, hit you guys back up on the tripod and take care of that, and we'll go from there. We'll be right back when they set you up. Here we go. All right, let's speed this up a little bit. Okay, a whole lot better. As you can see, we blasted out the majority of the lichens and the dirt. It's not perfect. We'll have to go back over it again once we determine if this is the keeper or if this is the donor. As you can see that we got most of it. Off there we did a pretty good job on the interior. Now, little spots here and there that we missed. No big deal. We'll get to those. Let's climb up in it again. We'll probably just pull this carpet out. It's in pretty bad shape and it's got stuff pulling out. We still need to clean out the side compartments and the rails, but it's a whole lot better than it was, especially underneath where all the crap was gathered. Got nice and cleared out, although we do have water in it again because it's not draining. Let's pop this off. Careful there, that's the carburetor intake, which is why we didn't spray down in there. We got a couple things we'll get in there. I got a little bilge pump, we'll pump the water out and we'll go on from there. So let me go ahead and get set up again and we'll come back and bring in when we're ready on the next step. Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Agawam, Massachusetts, and we're back on the boat. It's the next day since the previous section on that, and we pulled the boat into the back here. I'll show you, sitting right here. And we just did a couple things off camera that were pretty simple. We just put bolts into the hinges so the hood would work. We got a bungee tying up now, but we did find the cord sitting in the boat. We just need to find out where it's attached, and we'll go ahead and we'll get that taken care of. And what we want to do today is we kind of want to go through it and see what works and what doesn't work and if it's in better shape. In crawling in this thing, and I'll show you, let's go ahead and get up on it. Like I was saying, we got this late last year, 2023, like in September or something, and as a parts boat. But what we're finding out is I have a little squishy section on the other one here, but this is solid as all get out. The floor is really solid with it. They pulled out the seating, of course, because that usually goes bad. And everything's in. There's a lot less cracks on this. If we can confirm that this motor is in decent shape, and even if it isn't, we have the other one, which I know runs because I got that running. It's in better because down here in the bilge, I don't know if you can see it, but on the other boat, down here in the bilge area, they had a piece of wood that was angling like it. They had put stress on it and cracked it or something. So we're going to go through this one and we're going to see if this one works. It has some original parts. It's still got the water separator and the original looks like pressure sensor, fuel pressure sensor on it that might trigger the pump to come on and off. We're going to have to check that. It's got the original pump, and I just verified that that does work. You can hear that go clickety-clack when it's going. What we're doing now is we're charging the battery out of the trailer, and we're going to go ahead and get that up to full strength, and then we're going to pop it in here and we're going to see what works and what doesn't work. Do a good assessment on it, because if these things primary together, you got to go through it, make sure it runs well, fix up the little teeny things, slap some interior in it, and you're good to go. And that might be an easy way to get a boat up and going. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to go do that. Let me get everything set up and we'll be of course back and we'll show you just exactly what we're doing and how it's going. So hang tight. Okay, so as you can see, we're looking at the boat engine, right? And a couple of things popped right out at me as I'm looking at this, trying to inspect it. First off, I pulled off the solenoid to test it, to see if it's working, and it does close. The problem that it was having and why it wasn't going to work for them was that it wasn't bolted down anywhere. It was just hanging, floating. And the metal bracket on the bottom here is what grounds that and allows the solenoid to close. So we'll go and we'll attach that and do that. The other issue is if you can, let me see if I can get you guys set up so you can take a peek while I'm doing it. I found another issue with it, and it's on the coil. And it isn't going to ever work the way that it is. If you'll notice here on the coil, this is the line that comes out of the back of the distributor that opens and closes the points. It goes to one of the terminals, but it also has the white line which is running down and going to the I terminal. So what's the I terminal do? Well, the I terminal, let me see if I can get your stand open here, puts additional voltage on it when you're cranking it, right? Because you got a ballast resistor in there to not burn the coil out during normal circumstances. And I'm having a hard time getting this handle. There we go. To open up for you guys so I can get you to stand here. Sorry about that. It's being a pain. There we go. All right, so let's get you guys set up. And you can see in there, I don't think you can see the meter, but maybe you can hear it when I go ahead and touch that terminal and then touch that line. Continuity there, it's beeping. So it is connected. That was never going to work for them because every time you turn the key, you're shorting the voltage out on that pin, because every time that the point's close, it would short it out. And then you're putting voltage on both sides otherwise, so it was never going to charge. So we'll go ahead and we'll correct that. We'll get this over onto this side where it should be, so it pumps the voltage up when it's ready, and get that reconnected. We'll get that connected. The other thing that I did here was we took a voltmeter, my handy dandy voltmeter from Eastwood, and let me turn the light on, turn it way up, because we're going to go underneath the dash here on this. Okay, we're underneath the dash, and it's pretty, this is pretty clean. That's one thing I wanted to show you guys, is how clean it is under here. A little smell of gas. There's the gas tank. It's properly vented and everything. Here's the panel for the circuit breakers, and it's got standard, regular, everyday fuses in it. For that, they have a power on-off switch here, which that's on, that's off, and it does work. And I've tracked voltage up to this switch, over to the panel, and then I've checked points here, and most of the fuses are, there's a couple fuses out. The reason that I wanted to check that was, here is my ignition switch right here on that one right there, and there is no voltage getting to it when it does. So that's probably this red line, and if I track the red line with that meter, I'll probably discover that it's this one right here, this big one right there. This looks like a junction block for different things to be connected, but it's probably this one right here. That one had juice on it. The other one it could be is this one, which red with a blue stripe. Do I have a red with a blue stripe up here? I do. There's a red with a blue stripe right, I think, there. That's pure red. It's pure red. These are two big reds. We'll come off and feed this. So we need to find out where the big red lines are coming in. But somewhere, somehow, there it is right here. This is the big red line that's coming to this junction. So this junction, however it's getting fed, is it's being fed by voltage. We'll have to check that and make sure that there's there, and then it might come off to here to go where it needs to. But we're checking voltages around, and there was nothing there. So we still got to do some tracking down as to why there's no juice here. When you turn the key on, you get nothing anywhere for anything. So we're still tracking that stuff down, but it's pretty good. The wires aren't decayed. It's in pretty decent shape. We just go through it. We'll track everything down and see what's going on, and we'll go from there. But for sure, even if we got this cranking, that was not going to fire the way that was configured. So we'll go and we'll correct that, and we'll see where we're at. So just hang in there, and we'll be back. Catch me laying down here in the bottom of the boat. And all right, so we're back on things here. It's a nice Saturday afternoon in Agawam. It's warm and it's humid, and we're working on this boat here to do an evaluation on it to see what shape it's in, because we can actually get it to run, and it'll run decently. It needs an interior, and it's good to go. Everything is in pretty good shape in terms of the floors, in terms of the hull and all that type of stuff. But we had some issues with it, as we talked about, and we're trying to determine what's going on. One is I've been up underneath the dash. I showed you that earlier over there, and we've ID'd all the circuits here, and we got voltage coming up now and coming back into here, so we know what we're doing here. The problem that we have is in the starter. See, the starter solenoid down there is the wrong starter solenoid. It should be a 4-type starter solenoid, where the I terminal next to the S terminal is the negative side of the coil. This one uses the frame base, of course, as the negative side of the coil in order to activate the coil. And then I had that other wire attached to the I terminal, which is obviously connecting voltage, but that other one is connected directly to ground. I've checked that with continuity. So what I need to do is just verify the engine that it is. This is the engine number right here, and verify the schematic on that. I pulled the other boat out, the other Evinrude Playmate that I have. Let me step out of here and we'll go take a look at that, because that one does run. I got that one to run in Texas and it's configured correctly, but it's a DU13EE. That one may be a DU14D, which could have a different configuration. So this one has a 4-type solenoid, but the I terminal is more like a Chevy terminal, where it goes active when you click it, because the coil is grounded to the case, which is grounded to the engine, which goes back to the battery on that, and the coil is set up correctly. We've identified the voltage to the coil wire. It's got twin breakers in twin points in the breakers in the rotor for how the engine works, because it fires bank to bank to bank to bank. But it's hooked to standard ground, as you can see right here. There isn't anything different there. The plate goes to ground, the wire comes off, connects to the coil, so the coil goes and charges that. The other wire that's on the other side is the tack wire. So we have a little bit more research to do, and then we'll see if we can't. I've spun the motor over, it spins over just fine, but then we'll see if we can't maybe get some juice to it and see if it'll fire, and by a little bit of spray. If it does, then we'll go and do the work of cleaning the carburetors, because they're usually, when they've been sitting for a while, all gunked up. All right, so we'll be back in a little bit with another update on where we are, and we'll see you guys in a short one. All right, so we're back in the boat here, and we found the schematics, so we figured some things out. Let's talk about the cranking. Seems how I'm thinking about 3 different things here. Originally, the solenoid that it should be having on it is this type of solenoid, a Ford type solenoid, where the S terminal is for positive, the activation, and the I terminal on this is ground. Okay, now down here on the terminal that the solenoid they replaced it with, they had this line I've taped off right here hooked to the I terminal, so it would cause it to chatter. And the reason it would chatter is that's hooked to ground, and the reason that's hooked to ground is the way that this is configured is that right here on the distributor setting is a switch, and that's the neutral safety switch. So when the throttle is in the start position, like it is right here, then that switch is closed. When you move it up, it pushes it and it disconnects it, so it won't allow it to crank. So what the previous owner did is he stuck it right under this tab right here, so you can see it right now, and it should go on here. And I don't know if he figured that this was not working or not, but he did that. So what I did basically is, because I put the wrong one in, I just put a wire, like I was telling you, over the ground so we can get it to crank. So what we'll do is we'll see if we can't find the correct one. We'll get it hooked up correctly, but in the meantime, what we're going to do is we're going to see if we got any spark with this. I know it cranks, but it's not doing anything with it when it cranks. So what I'm going to do here is we'll set you up on the legs, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide a ground and a power to the coil, and I'll just pulse the power myself. We'll hook a ground directly to it, and I'll pulse the power, and we'll see if it'll generate a spark out of the cable or not, and see where we're at, because I can crank it all I want. I can spray some brake clean in it, and it's not popping, it's not doing anything. And there could be lots of different reasons why it's doing that, but let's go back and just see if we have a good coil. Let's see if I can get this, hang on a second. I see if I can get this stand up. I have a little stand that's built into the power stick that I have for this. There we go. Got it set up. We'll see if we can't position you a little bit and check. And I'm not sure you'll be able to see if it's sparking or not, but we'll check and see if we have any power, any spark coming off of that. So let's hook to the ground side. And that. Just like that. Let's hook this end to the ground, which is already connected. I'm going to take this end, which is power, and hold it. We're going to hook this to the power. And I'm going to check. Okay, so the coil's sparking. Let's see if we get any response off of it. Yep, the coil's working. It's generating spark. So that's a good thing. So we know that that has spark. Let's go ahead and take the fixed ground off of it. Let's hook the power to the coil. And we'll see by cranking it and holding it over there, because I have the jumper right here, if we get any spark. Nothing off of that. So we chased it down. We know that the coil's working okay. We're gonna have to get in here and get in there and clean the points on that distributor, and make sure that everything's closing right. See if we can get it to bounce. If we get it to bounce, I think it will probably fire once we spray some stuff in it. So we'll it's in the evening. I'll probably tackle this in the morning, and we'll go ahead and we'll see if we can't get this thing to at least pop a little bit. All right, so we'll be back when we go do that. Okay, so don't ever let it be said that I'm not a bonehead at some times. Do you know what happens when you leave a coil connected to a battery overnight because you were stupid and you forgot to pull it off before you quit your job for the evening? You make it ooze. I don't know if you can see it right down here. Right there where my finger is. You make it ooze stuff, and you get the coil so hot that when you touch it, you burn your hand. That's what a bonehead move is. So that coil is probably El Dedo. So we're going to remove it. I have a spare one that came with another bracketing piece. It came with this. I don't know if they needed to swap it out or if they did. Indicates different engine configurations based on what's on the tag there. I was talking about earlier, but we'll switch that coil and we'll see if we can't get a little bit of spark going on this thing. Otherwise, we figured out what the configuration is. I'm going to get it all set up. As soon as I have it all set up, I'll show you, walk and talk you guys through it, and we'll see if we can't get this thing to pop a little bit, and we'll go from there. All right, so I'll be back in just a minute. Well, hey there, we're back again on the boat project, and I know we've done some summing up, but let's just review real quick where we're at right now, what we did with the project, and we're going to do a couple things here and see if we can't get some decent spark out of this. As we had talked, I had fried the original coil, and I did it real good. It was left on all night. It heated up. It cracked. You can see there's cracks all over it. I think you can see down there, there's cracks all over it. It basically boiled all the conformal coating that's inside that covers the wires. It all boiled out. It was goo everywhere from it. And it is indeed dead. The coil doesn't work. Now, these coils aren't special or anything. They're just designed for the boat to fit. A regular automotive coil would work in this place. And we may change over to that just because it's a little bit stronger. I had another one that came with the boat right here. It had just a little crack in it. It was okay. So I taped it up and we bench tested it, and it gave a spark, not a super strong spark. Now I do have another one over there on that boat right there. If we have to, we can steal that to see if we can get it. That one works fine. That engine, as I was telling you about, it does run, and what we're trying to do is to see if this one will run, because if this one will run and the outdrive unit is fine, it needs an interior and you can go. And so that's what we're looking at to do right here. So what we're going to try and do today is, it's not generating. We got a nice charged battery all ready to go. Everything's hooked up. As I was telling you before, they have the wrong starter in here. It's supposed to be a Ford type where the I is the ground. The I terminal on the Ford is the ground for the coil, because this little one I have right here that I taped off, that wouldn't do anything, is this right here, which is a neutral safety switch. It's supposed to be back, and while it's in neutral, it grounds it so that you can crank it. And once you cranked it, you don't need the circuit anymore. So when the distributor rolls forward, when you put juice on it, I'll show you. You can watch that distributor move, because it changes the timing and it advances it. It's got a mechanism in there to do that. This makes sure that it's crankable in that position when it's ready to go. So what we're going to do is, I've already tried to turn it over with the new coil. It cranks right over but doesn't generate any spark. What we're looking at is we're going to go and do our normal routine. We're going to pull the cap off again. We're going to go and we're going to clean up the points on it. We'll see if we can't make it go click it, you know, sparks, do some decent sparking on it. If it does, then we'll try and get it run. But we're dead in the water until we do it. If we have to, we'll either swap out the coil from this boat to try and get it going if we run, or go and pick up an automotive one. We can fit an automotive in that space. It'll be a little long, but it'll work okay. And we'll go from there. So let me set you up on the camera here. Hopefully you can see what we're doing. And I always have a problem with this. It's got a little arm on it here. And that one likes to get stuck. Okay, so let's see if we can't set you up and get you watching what we're doing here. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to do now is let's go ahead and let's pull these out again. I'm going to flip that cap up. Now when I was playing with the coil, it's got a new coil wire on it. I had some for that, but it's was so stuck. The coil wire was so stuck in the cap that when I pulled it out, the way that these were made is just little metal clips over the ends of the wires for the coil. It stayed in there, so I did my best to pull that out. So hopefully it's not in there anymore. We're making a decent contact in the cap, but that's not going to impact whether the coil fires or not, because it's the black wire that comes off the back that's connected to the points. And this is a dual point system. Basically both of the points have to open. The reason they set it up that way was it's got banks. It fires side to side when it fires on this motor. So they've got the nubs on the cam lobe set up such that in the right spots it goes ahead and it opens both points simultaneously for the appropriate side bank that's firing. Alright, and we're gonna clean everything up on there too. So let's go in here. We got some emery paper. Gonna have to bump it over because I got a point that's already opened. And is the other one open yet? Nope, not yet. So it would still be charging because these are in parallel and they're grounded to the plate. So they both have to open in order for that to charge. Now both closed so that we can go ahead and we can stick our sandpaper in here. Let's get these open and see if we can't get these cleaned up. And let's get the paper in there. It's a little bit in the way. There we go. We got the paper in there. Move it back and forth a little bit, see if we can't clean those contacts up. Oh yeah, they're dirty. You can see them. See if we can't get them a little cleaner here. That's looking a little better. Do it one more time, just to make sure. Okay, let's go do this bottom one. That's in the way, of course, because why not? And curl that up a little bit. There we go. Go ahead and stick some more in there. So they're cleaning up. Of course, they're positioned such that it makes it difficult to get in there because there's all kinds of crap in the way, but okay, let's take our brake cleaner and let's rinse them off a little bit. Go. Let that evaporate. But let's take a look at them. See how they look. Not too bad. So hopefully now we'll get a little spark out of this sucker. Let's also spray the inside of this. Make sure that we this cap is vented to the atmosphere because as it builds the dust and it builds a gas in there, it'll go ahead and leak it off. Okay. We'll check and see if we got any difference. I don't know if I'll be able to see, but if we don't get any major, if I don't get a decent spark out of it, what we're going to do probably is just go ahead and switch up the coil to the one that's known good, to make sure that we are sparking here, or that we can get a spark. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Everything's working. I'm gonna go grab the voltmeter real quick, so when we turn it on and we go ahead and crank it, we can go ahead and check and make sure that we got voltage to the coil. Piece of cake. Put it inside so it wouldn't get rained on in case it rained last night. And I made sure I pulled everything off so I didn't burn that coil up, or we start a fire on it or something. Get all these screws in. Alright, let me go grab the voltmeter. I'll be back in like 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. Go ahead and see if we got juice here. Meter's on. Yep, 14 volts on that coil. So we're doing that. Okay, let's see what we get. See if we can see a spark happening here. Oh yeah, we got some juice coming out of that coil now. Cool. All right, let's turn that key off. Alright, so here's what we're going to do. Let's pull these plugs, check them and see the state that they're in real quick. And let's put a little ATF down here. This hasn't been run, it's just been cranked a little bit. So, I want to make sure that, because it's a two-cylinder, two-cycle, that we're not going to kill everything. So let me go away for just a second and get the tools we need, so you're not hanging on the camera staring at an engine and not hearing me talk. And we'll be right back to do some more work. Hang tight. Okay, we're back. Got what we need. Couldn't find my ATF though, so we use good old standard 10W30. Just drop a little bit in there. And let's take a look at, oh, look at that plug. Dirty, ugly. It's wet though. Somebody put oil in here earlier, I think. Yeah, we're gonna take and clean those up a little bit. At least off of the first plug. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's pretty oily, dirty, which is probably a good sign, because it says there's somebody poured some oil in these cylinders, which is good. We may not have to put any in there. Let's check and see if we got it on all of them. Yeah, they're all the same. At least those two are. We will go ahead and we're going to bypass the put extra oil in there step, because it looks like it's got some in there already. Oh, that one's dry. We'll put a little bit in that one. Again, I mean, not horrible, the electrodes are there, but they're dirty. So we'll go ahead and we'll take this in and we'll clean these plugs up. Pop the cleaner plugs back in it. I don't know if it's sparking out to the cap, but we'll at least be ready. That one's got oil in it. As you can see right there. So I only have one cylinder. Let's just put a drop in that one. It looked like it could use. Let's make sure we don't get crap in that cylinder. We're going to use the funnel we brought. Just put a quick dip like that in there. Let it run down. Soak those rings. Blowing it out. It's got some compression there, so pretty cool. Alright, I'm going to go clean those plugs and we will be back. Put them in there and we'll see if this thing will at least pop a little bit with a little bit of juice in it. Alright, so hang tight, we'll be back again. You know what, we're right back. I thought maybe I'd show you how I clean plugs. I don't think I've ever shown you guys how I do that. There's 100,000 ways to clean plugs. I typically use a wire brush that's on my drill press to clean out the tips and stuff, and I use some brake clean to go ahead and clean out the gunk, the dirt, the ugliness of it. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me tilt you back. I got you on the stand. That, sorry, moving y'all around. So the way I do it is I just take the plugs, okay, just use a little bit of brake clean and we'll give it an initial squirt break down any of the crap that's in there. We'll do it at the end too to make sure that it's blown off from all dirt and things. And then what we do is, sorry, bumped you. Come over here to the drill press, turn that on, just use the wire brush to get down in there and clean everything off. And then we'll check the gap with a feeler gauge and see where we're at. But it does a pretty good job. Of getting it clean. right there. Not too bad. Turn the light on. See that? It cleans it up pretty good. So what I'll do next, I'll just give it a squirt to make sure it's clean. We'll let it dry and we'll be good. But that's how I clean plugs. Just as a method that you guys can take a look at if you have what you need to do that. All right, so we'll be right back once we get them installed. All right, so we're back. And what we did was we went and cleaned and gapped the plugs. You saw that. We're all ready to go. We're going to squirt some juice down in. I took the air cleaning, the filtering parts off just so that we can get a nice clear spray into there. And hopefully get a little juice in there. And we'll see if we get a little bark out of it. All it's got to do is just pop. And we're in good shape. So let's go ahead and set you up. Hopefully, if it comes to life, it won't knock you down. Go ahead and tilt you over so you can see it. Turn on the power. We'll go ahead and we'll make sure we have power to the coil again. Yep, we sure do. Cool. Let's give it a spray of juice, see what happens. See if she'll bark off a little bit. Whoa, look at that. Ah ha ha, we got a runner. All right, look, we got a runner. So now we're gonna do the rest. We're gonna go and see if we can get gas. We'll go ahead and check the carburetor, make sure the carburetor is all cleaned up. But she's a popping, so we got a runner. So let me go ahead and get everything set up for that. And we'll be back to chronicle and see if we can't make this thing turn over a little bit. All right, hang on. All right, so we're back and we're set up here. So what we've done is we pulled off the connection to the fuel pump that's right here, and we've gone to my life support system, which if you guys have been watching me, you know about that system there. The other thing that we've done is we've gone ahead and we set up water. We got the unit down, set up water. Boat users that are watching this know that you never run it without it, because in here is the water pump, and you'll destroy the impeller if you don't pull water. It may have already been crumpled up or destroyed from the little pops that we did to get it going, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it in, we're going to run it, we're going to see if it starts. I have no idea what it'll do. The other one, to get it to run, the one over there when I had it in Texas, is I had to pull the carburetor all the way apart and rebuild the floats. Actually, they're cork floats, and the cork had decayed and it was flooding all the time. So I actually had to find some cork. I had to cut it to fit. I had to put it back on. I had to make the floats work again, and we got that to go. So when we turn this on, this may instantly flood. I don't know. We'll run it from here. We'll see what it does. See if it'll pop off and maybe run a little bit. We'll get you guys set up in here. Let's make sure that you're looking at it. You are. And try and keep stuff out of harm's way here. Okay. So let's go ahead, turn the life support on. Sounds like it's pumping. We're going to turn on the ignition. I'm going to give it a little pop. Oh, it's flooding. Big time. It's trying to run now. You fell over. Let's turn the pump off. Most definitely flooding. Okay. So that answers that question. Looks like we're going to be rebuilding the carburetors because these floats aren't dropping. Well, let's sift a little bit and work it and come back to it after it's deflooded a little bit and see if it'll pop some more. We'll keep the fuel pump off and we'll see what happens here. Let's give it a little bit of time to unflood. I'm pretty sure though, if I go in and even swap the carburetors one from the other, I can get this thing to run and to run pretty reliably. So stay tuned. We're going to see what we have going here. All right, we'll be back just a little bit. All right, so we're back at it here. It's been probably about an hour, so we could let it sit and stop flooding. So what we're going to try now is we're not going to turn on the fuel pump at all. We're just going to go ahead and crank it without anything, see if it'll pop off. If not, we'll turn the choke on, see if it'll pop off. If not, then probably what we're going to need to do is pull the carburetor off and do some work on it. It's what is this, July 15th or something like that, July 16th in Agawam, Massachusetts. And it's really hot and it's really humid out. So we'll work in the shop when we need to do that because we're outside in the beautiful outdoors. So let me go ahead and turn you towards it. We'll hop up there and we'll see if it'll crank for us. I got smart. I put you on the tripod so you won't fall over. All right. Let's turn on the ignition. Give it a wing over and see what happens. Look at that! All right. Fired right off. Go ahead and turn on this again. See if it'll fire off. Turn it off. Choke levels here. Get the choke off, I believe. Now. Oh, got her stuck. She must be loading up. She might be hydrolocked. Let's go ahead and turn that off. Little plugs. Oh yeah, kind of gas it. Let's not break anything, shall we? We got a runner though, if we get this carburetor issue worked out. Oh, got something stuck. Hopefully we didn't break it. I'll explore and let you know. All right, so a couple minutes, just some further exploration. It's not hydrolocked, we know that. There's no fluid in the cylinders. For some reason it stopped cranking over, and I don't know if it's the starter that's having an issue, or we did something and the crank broke, or whatever. But it's going to take some deeper delving into, and we've got a couple other projects lined up. I've stuck this one in the middle just so I could get something out. As long as this one runs, it's a runner. If not, we do have the motor over in that one, which I know works perfectly, that we can yank out and we can drop into this if we think this is a better boat. So we'll continue to do a survey on that, but I'm going to end this video here. We'll come back with another video on what our plan's going to be, because I'm not sure what we're going to do yet, and we'll continue on with that. Other than that, you're going to see some other projects coming out. We'll be releasing a video on getting the Corvette Ghost all tightened up with its pedals in there. We're almost ready to release that. And then the C30 goes back into the garage, because we're going to start to work on that, clean that frame up, get the suspension all set up for doing the rollback on it. So hang tight, and we'll be doing those. But in terms of the boat stuff, we'll come back to that pretty soon, not too long, and we'll do another set of videos on this. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later.